Hello everyone, welcome to Quick Esports versus Supershy FACEIT League Masters Season 5 EMEA. We'll start for real this time. We had a little bit of a rough start just a minute or so ago where we didn't actually go live. Hopefully this time you can all actually hear us because that would be a phenomenal start to the stream. Now, patch has quite literally just dropped. And I think that the teams and players are trying to adapt to it as we can. It seems like they're trying to eke out as much time as humanly possible to actually read the patch notes and have a think about them, see if they, affect anything massively. I don't believe it will, because it seems more around buffing characters that don't have the limelight rather than, nerfing characters that do have it. Map 1 is going to be Ilios, and I am joined by Hex today. Would we like to have a little bit of a discussion about these patch notes?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've already had a bit of a practice run chatting about the patch notes, so you already know my thoughts. But let's have a talk anyway, because this Queen buff could be pretty impactful on what we could be seeing. I mean, a lot of the time, especially like right when the patch comes out, we don't tend to see a ton of people completely changing everything to what could be the new meta, because no one really knows yet, and you don't really want to test in a tournament match. But if Queen does come out, it's definitely going to be more viable than before because of these massive buffs to Shout. And we also see Mauga getting a bit of a buff, Ram having a small buff to one of the perks, and a little bit of stuff to Zarya perks as well, but nothing too impactful. Because, of course, the main thing come out of this is definitely going to be that Queen buff, which is hopefully gonna mix things up, because the meta's been, not the best, for me at least, for the last few weeks. And Tracer buff as well.
The Tracer buff is interesting, because Tracer's not exactly unpopular right about now. Maybe with the rise of, say... She's kind of been like maybe soft. She might have been like slightly soft countered on account of kind of the rise of Cassidy recently. But to be honest, like the meta is still somewhat up in the air. There's also, I think the Mauga buff and the Junk Queen buff make a lot of sense, because in terms of talking about meta tank picks, there's quite a lot of variety, but we are seeing teams lean a little slightly more towards the Orisa where possible. And Mauga is not something that is particularly comfortable into the Orisa. The Queen can struggle into Orisa. Often depends on the map and the kind of geometry, because oftentimes Orisa can just put herself in front of the Queen, and then it's like, okay, well, what can we do, right? Not a whole lot. So interesting patch notes. Yet to see how they'll be affecting them. But while we're here, let's talk about the teams. Quick Esports, obviously, yes, we are repping them. They are guaranteed, or I think like virtually guaranteed, to be making playoffs. So it's the top 8 from FACEIT Masters who end up making it into playoffs. The bottom 8 teams are, well, not. Supershy very much in that category. I think Supershy are currently sitting at 12th place, so they are just on the precipice of having to fight for their slot in relegation. So Supershy, they've been mathematically eliminated from making the playoffs, but they kind of still need the win. Otherwise, they'll have to go down to the relegation tournament, and then they might end up getting kicked down to Expert, which no one really wants to do.
Yeah, definitely not. That wouldn't be a good situation for any team to be in. But the first map pick, as you sort of mentioned a little bit earlier, has come through, and it's going to be Ilios. So, what do we think of this? What kind of
Golden Pants is going to play Wrecking Ball. Yeah,
okay,
it's not exactly a insane concept. Quick Esports are a ball team. They have probably one of the best balls in the world on their team, so they're going to play it. As a matter of fact, that has been immediately banned on map 1 by Supershy, so we're not going to see it, which means that we'll probably be seeing... correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe what happens in a situation like this is someone else flex onto the tank while Golden Pants ends up playing the support, which is often a flex spot like a Zen or an Ana. So if you're going to beat Quick, this is the map to do it, because in all the other maps, they're going to get very comfortable and they're going to be able to play their style properly. With the pick ban system, remember, you can only ban each hero once per side. Quick, they're never going to ban Wrecking Ball, so Supershy were able to do it the one time. If they don't win this map, they are screwed, to put it bluntly. Because right now, you're fighting a Quick Esports at like maybe 70-80% strength, and if you're not able to overcome that, then you have no way in hell of beating them when they get to the very top of their game.
Mm-hmm. And Edgar, do you think it's a good choice here for Supershy to have banned Ball in the very first map? And because obviously this could potentially come back to haunt them later on in the series.
Ilios is a very good ball map. Probably up there for one of the best in the game with, say, New Queen Street, but that one's a little more niche and it's not particularly popular to see New Queen Street get picked, let's be honest. You want more evidence? Just have a look at Crazy Raccoon. Have a look at Junbin on the Wrecking Ball, infamous on Ilios for just winning everything and being like a globally feared mega death strategy. Now, is Golden Pants Junbin? Not quite. But in this kind of capacity is filling that Junbin-esque role where it's going to be really, really difficult to dislodge a good Wrecking Ball on a comfortable map. So we're not going to be able to see that style come out. So actually, yes, I do think that banning it on the first map is the correct play.
Okay, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to come out here, considering that this board is banned. And I mean, we still have the dive available, of course, with the monkey, and the DPS slots are still going to probably be quite dominant in this situation. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see what comes out here.
Yeah. Also, I'm not sure if we're just theory crafting here, but it doesn't seem like Supershy are actually running with their full roster. It appears that their coach is in. Not their coach, actually, their manager, who could also be their coach. Oh, well, happens to the best of us, I suppose. It would be J9 who would be coming in. A really hot DPS prospect, but not going to be picking up today. So, looking at the standings right now, it seems like this will be a bit one-sided. Quick Esports, they're almost guaranteed their playoff spot. A win here would solidify that. And we know what it's all about, right? Right now, it seems to be a little bit of a 3-horse race. Realistically, probably a 2-horse race at the top of FACEIT this season between Team Vision and Arius, right? Anomaly, Quick Esports are also kind of in contention for that. So Quick Esports want to make a big win, a dominant win here, just to kind of solidify themselves going into the playoffs. For Supershy, again, this game matters, but it doesn't. Mostly because they're currently in 12th. A loss here could very well drop them into 13th, 14th place, and then again, they would have to go into the relegation tournament, which they would really rather not do. If you're in top 12, you get to at least keep your place in Masters to lick your wounds and go next. You'd rather not have to fight for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we mentioned this earlier. You absolutely do not want to be put in this position where you're at risk of getting relegated down to the lower division. And yeah, it's not a good situation for anyone to be in. But it sounds like Quick is in a fairly comfortable spot. And this game shouldn't be too much of a hassle for them, especially this Ilios map if the side of Supershy are having some sort of roster issues. It's gonna definitely not be the best situation for them.
No, so could be a blowout. Preferably not. We'd like to see signs of life from Supershy, but ultimately, we don't always get to draw it up exactly like that. So, Wrecking Ball banned, Freya banned as well. This also kind of makes sense. Ilios has a couple of points with a lot of range. I'm thinking Ruins in particular. Freya is no longer the horrific lobby admin that she was maybe a few months ago, but she's pretty good. Generally, the hit scan lineup varies between the Cassidy and the Freya, two characters which did not get touched in this recent patch, and it's fairly formulaic where if your map has range, you're going to go for a Freya, if not, you're going to go for a Cassidy. Besides that, Tracer Sombra, always still relatively popular style. Tracer getting a buff once more, which I believe I counted as the 6th or 7th time in Overwatch 2's lifespan that Tracer's damage has been changed from a number between 5 and 6. They just can't figure it out. They simply cannot figure out what to do. There was also that weird time in Tracer's lifetime where they nerfed her damage, but they buffed her fall off ridiculously, so she was dealing full damage from like across the map, and she could just assassinate backliners from the front line, which was also an interesting look. But as we know, Tracer is eternal, is always going to be played, and I think that definitely doesn't change with these teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Tracer is one of those characters that's just like, as you say, eternal, right? Like she's gonna be at least somewhat meta permanently. I mean, she's a brilliantly designed character, and the fact that they barely have to change her, it definitely shows. And in terms of that ranged matchup with the Freya ban, do you think we could see a potential Widow coming through on Ruins here?
I'd say yes if it was any of these teams' wheelhouses. But I'm going to say no because I don't believe either of the teams really favor it. And also, Widow conceptually makes a lot of sense here, but she's just not very good in the meta right now, to be honest. The one map where she was consistently dominating, Circuit Royale, has been completely taken over by, like, not even Sigma anymore, but more like Ramatra, Mei, Venture, like Genji. Sometimes you run a Freya or a Cass. It's like really weird. And I think when I kind of use Circuit as the litmus test for how good Widow is, and that is if you cannot play Widow on Circuit, if she's not meta at least on that map, she sure as hell is not going to be meta on any of the other maps.
Yeah. I can definitely understand that. To be honest, I'm not fully caught up with the sort of meta standings at the moment. The team that I play for is pretty much exclusively Monkey, so I don't really have to think about very much else. So it's definitely interesting to be talking a little bit about the broader meta and understanding this to an extent, of course. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see this played here today, to see what's going to come out, because especially in this first map with the Bull ban and with that Freya ban as well, I'm looking forward to seeing what both these teams have to offer, and hopefully we're going to have a good match on our hands.
I think the main point about what the meta is right now is that it's variant, and honestly, we kind of love that. On account of, mostly because of hero bans, they've kind of made teams seemingly embrace experimentation and wackiness and chaos a bit. So we're seeing some kind of age-old styles return. So Lucio Bap hasn't been played since Lucio Bap hasn't really been played since London Spitfire Rush. Now that's back as a kind of pocket pick on maps where, say, a Tracer or Sombra's banned out. Like, that's still a very good style. More peculiar, on Circuit Royale, we're seeing Lifeweaver get played on occasion. Just because love of the game, I suppose, and not even as Dilducks flinging their Ryan into backline. No, like top NA and EU teams playing Lifeweaver against each other on circuit, like, okay, that's crazy work. In terms of tanks, I mean, the fact that immediately I know that in the most recent LCS Korea, there was a what was played? There was a Bull played, I believe, a Monkey played, a Orisa played, Hazard played, Malga played, probably a Zarya at some point as well. Like, it's very, very variant, to be honest. It's very unique to the teams. It's very unique to their comfort and their style.
Yeah, and you talk about how chaotic the meta is at the moment. With the Life Weaver, and especially on circuit, we were talking about the Ram coming out a lot of the time. You could be seeing a May and a Genghis, that stuff. That even a year ago you wouldn't really see so much. So it's nice to see that the meta changing and having more interesting things being played all around, really.
We're currently having a bit of a wait, ladies and gentlemen, a rather large one. That it kind of happens when it kind of just happens when it kind of just happens. There's a there's a big issue with people actually getting into the game. Obviously, new season comes out. There's a queue, so some players are stuck in queue. Our observer is stuck in queue. It's a bit of a tough one. So, to be completely honest, we're going to run it to a quick break while we get all of this stuff sorted. We will keep updating you where we can, but in the meantime, there's a big queue coming in. There's something being played on patch day, which maybe was not the best idea in the world, but that's not our decision, that's the players. So we'll throw it to a quick break, and we'll see you shortly. All right, hour behind schedule, no time for an intro, let's get into the game. With a little bit of finagling and going into Asian servers, we've managed to get ourselves in, so literally, let's go in right now, see what's happening. Ilios map 1 currently being played, and from what I could see quite briefly, it seemed like we were looking at we were looking at things to be a little different for the side of Quick. Sorry, I didn't.
Oh. The voice inside your head again, Edgar.
Yeah,
Seems like it.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Sorry, things are rather hectic today. It being, that day and all. But oh well, we're going to be going in here. Quick Esports 1-0 currently. Again, putting currently the wrong way around, as a matter of fact. So, looking at the compositions here, the D.Va versus the Winston is going to be an interesting matchup. Winston probably has the better dive. D.Va might want to play a little more defensively here, especially with, say, an Alari BAP. You definitely want to be a little more passive with that backline, look for damage and an elongated fight.
Yeah, and trying to take control of Cage here, and they do successfully do it, but looks like the side of Supershy going to be trying to contest that, and the Monkey is pushing up, and he's going to be taking the high ground, so this is a pretty good position for the side of Supershy to be in. Now they have the pressure on Cage. They've sort of flipped the control of the map here. We still have a lot of pressure coming in from Rory on the side of Quick. Just a little bit of a downtime just in the middle of the fight here, but now the pressure comes back out, and Sully actually falls somehow through the engage, and so does Fred, and now Quick Esports are going to be in a really good position with 2 down on the side of Supershy. It's going to be cleanup time now, and they do find a pick though, Supershy does. It's not going to be anything too massive, and the rest are going to die, and pretty nice early win for Quick.
Yeah, for Quick it's all about living through the dive, and they did that absolutely fantastically here. It was a long fight, and they did have control for all of that, so already 40% on the point, trying to even things up here. In terms of ults, it's going to be the nano boost from Raisu, definitely the most decisive one currently on the field. Supershy, they tend to have slightly stronger ults on their side than it seems that Quick do, so we're going to see how Quick can use them.
Yeah, the engage comes in pretty early. They sort of don't really have time for any sort of forcing anyone out or anything, and then under comes through, and that's exactly why they didn't have time for it. And they're going to find that cast, and also going to find the Alari, but Risu goes down for the side of Supershy, so it's going to be 1 up for Quick. Another pick comes through, and so does another, and now the rest of the side of Quick are going to have fallen, and a fight that looks pretty dominant from the side of Supershy early on pulls through, and they get that fight win.
Yeah, I was kind of confused about the first jump from Bread, but it was actually good positioning. Set yourself up in the middle of the point by the lighthouse, so that the windmill, so that when the nano actually comes through, you're already pretty deep within the enemy team, and then you can just take advantage of that engage. Rory has a self-destruct here to try and live a little bit longer, but we'll see how well that can be used.
Yeah, the new comes through, and it just uses a zoning ultimate here, but it does kind of a bit of damage from Sully. And no! Oh my goodness, a pick was going to come through, but somehow that Tracer, Sully, turned it around. And I don't even know how they won the 1v1, but somehow they did. Now the rest of Supershy are going to be pushing up, and they have the control, and the rest of Quick are going to have to back off there. They don't want to fight it, and they're just going to play it safe.
Yeah, that's the 6 damage Tracer effect coming in, and coming in hot as well. Red here with a Primal Rage, you can use that to kind of effectively get into the backline, play very, very aggressively. Quick Esports, they are kind of scrambling to find answers right now. They don't really have any tools to work with, and Evil just gets gapped there.
Yeah, that was a massive 1v1 win for Tully there, and Red is going to push in now with that advantage there, so no trace pressure the backline. It's going to be a little bit freer than it would have been without that pick, but the rest of Quick are going to back off and stabilize for now.
They have a moment, at least here, to think and formulate. Ace wants to get a comfortable setup with the back window before trying to do it on the high ground, but you need to be very careful of the Winston when you go for a setup like that.
Yeah, and Rory is so low in this fight, and actually Ace gets very, very low as well, and does fall to the Primal Rage, which had come out. The window is going to be up as well, so it's going to be a tough situation for the side of Supershy, and the bomb comes out as well, but doesn't really find anyone except a bit of zone. With that breaker going down as well for the side of Supershy. Now we see the Alari Sun ultimate, I forget the name, coming out. as Bread falls, and it's pretty even for now because we're going to have 3 up for each side, but Risu finds 2. And now, even better is going to be the situation for Supershy. The immo does come out from the side of Ace on Quick. And a bit of a trade comes through from the Ana versus the Tracer. Supershy still have the control of the point, but Quick seem to be in a good position here, but I'm not too sure because the rest of Supershy are getting back as we speak, and Ace is going to fall to that regrouping. And now we have the Malga in the fight. The Noon comes out as well from the side of Quick, and it's going to zone a lot of people off. The Tracer wants to try and get out there. And they are. Yeah. And the Brig Rally comes out from the side of Supershy, and it's going to find one, but another one that gets traded out. And this fight is such a mess. The Malga Stomp comes in, but the Brig Rally is up there to try and stabilize the rest of the team. But the Malga is down. Rory falls to the side of Quick, but the Brig goes down as well. What is this fight? The stick comes through onto Gordon Pants. That's going to be a big pick. Both heroes down for the side of Quick Esports, and Supershy somehow bringing us through, and the overtime picks down, and it's going to be the point win for Supershy, and that's actually going to be the map win as well for them. And wow, that last fight was an absolute mess. I have no idea what happened.
To be honest with the last fight, it was never really out of the hands of Supershy. It seemed like obviously Quick did get like a lot of percentage, but honestly that was more from a protracted first fight that happened to get them to about 67% on the point. They then lost it. Then they were able to use a Deadeye on the second point to briefly recap it, so it looked like they had momentum on their side, but realistically, the kind of ult advantage was just so much stronger from the side of Supershy. Their comp also just a little more kind of logically cohesive. Yes, like a D.Va works, at least a little bit, when you are against a Winston. But but like when you have a double flex backline, when you have a Bat and an Alari, D.Va can't actually stop the Winston doing damage and placing down bubbles and anything like that, right? Yes, you can pressure him out. Yes, you can try and, block off any potential healing via Matrix from possibly an Ana, block any follow-up from, say, a Tracer or a Cass, but you can't do anything about the Winston itself. And to be honest, it seemed like Supershy's Winston was relatively free, went quite unanswered, was able to sort of walk into the backline with no real pressure applied. So really strong one. Again, we didn't exactly see what happened on that first sub point, but Supershy currently taking a map off of Quick Esports.
Yeah, absolutely. But, it does come with the factor as well of that ball ban, right? And, I haven't watched a ton of Quick, if I'm honest with you, but, if they are, a big ball OTP team, then it doesn't surprise me, that the side of Supershy won that first map if their main sort of, carry comp was banned out. But regardless, we do have the next map picked, and we have the next bans coming through as well. So it's going to be Suravasa for the second map here, and the bans of Malga, Lucio. So why do we think they may have chosen this ban on the side of Quick?
Because Malga is an absolute obnoxious freak of nature when you're against a Wrecking Ball. So to be specific, when you are the Wrecking Ball, Malga is an obnoxious, annoying piece of work, to be completely honest. Completely eviscerates the ball. Your entire strength as ball. Obviously, there's a lot of factors to your survivability, your mobility, your crazy overshields, but a small one people don't really talk about is like you can't get crit. It's a reason why Fortify on Orisa is such a strong ability, because you can't get crit, right? When you're against a Malga, suddenly that just vanishes completely, and you are really at his mercy as to whether he shoots the hell out of you or not. In terms of the Lucio ban from Supershy, I couldn't really tell you, to be completely honest. Having a brief look at what they're playing, it seems like they want to have a kind of Brig Bat backline, so they want to be a little more bunkered down. Not exactly immobile, but they want to stand their ground, and they definitely want to stand their ground. And a Lucio on the other side means that you could just have circles run around you. But Quick Esports, they're finally on their comfort composition, so let's see how hot this matchup can get.
Yeah, and we have the Freya coming out as well, which is going to be nice to see. And already the trace pressure back onto that backline. And yeah, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, we can see that extra half a point of damage per shot coming through. as well, doing a little bit of extra work on that Tracer, maybe making it a little bit more annoying to play into. But we're already seeing Golden Pants maybe looking for a bit of a slam, holding this pressure here, and they're going to look for the roll through, but they do get denied by that Orisa, and already the Orisa is getting very low, and the Immortality Field is used so early into the fight, and it's not a great situation to be in to have that 20-second cooldown on such a fundamental piece of utility. And Evil gets picked off by Risu really early, you know, in the post stage of the fight still, and having a pick early is so nice. So we're going to be seeing Bread is going to be using that pick to their use, and is going to be pushing in, but Risu actually is going to fall as well, so we're going to be even on either side. But not really, because Evil is going to be back in the fight now, so a little bit of an advantage on the side of Quick, and the rest are getting very, very low on the side of Supershy, and they are going to fall actually as well, and Sully going down as well. Ace is doing so much work in game 2. Oh my goodness, and Jacob getting a pick as well, so support line for the win right there.
When you're playing a Zen and you see an Orisa standing across the fray from you, you are absolutely salivating, right? The Discord and the damage and the hitbox, it all just adds up. Ace was alive in the fight for so long, because you look at Supershy, they don't have anything that can actually pressure out this backline, so it is just a waiting game before the Zen kills you.
Yeah, and the slam came through so very early there, and got so many people low, and forced the Immo as well, and the cast is getting really low on the side of Supershy as well, but they're not going to fall just yet, and a little bit of a stabilization is going to come through here, but the Orisa is so low, I don't know if they have time to stabilize. No, they don't! Bread falls so early, and they're going to have to TP out, and once your tank is dead, like, there's nothing they can do here. All they can do is walk out and try and kite a little bit, but the pressure is still coming through from the side of Quick Esports. The rally comes through as well. They're getting a little bit aggressive here, maybe greedy, but greed is only a cost, and I don't know if there's any cost going through here except the ultimates, and they're going to find the brig here. And I mean, what even is going on at the moment? Sunny's dying as well, and the Orisa's back, but these staggers are insane.
I kind of just want to say to the team's wrong point. You're fighting over the wrong point, it appears. But fighting over the wrong point means that you're going to get a neat little stagger onto Risu, which very much helps Quick Esports. Some of the members have some decent ability to get over to this new point, but Supershy, actually with the sim, could get superior positioning here when they're all able to group up together. It's going to be a very chaotic fight here. The mines from Golden Pants will be a bit of a problem for Supershy. They can quite easily deny the BAP getting good sightline through the window, and also they don't really care about the symbol either. So I think these mines could prove to be quite deadly.
And the cast getting pressured out here on the side of Supershy as well, and as you mentioned, the mines coming in, this is going to cause a bit of a difficulty for the side of Supershy as Risu falls, and that Immortality Field was used as well, but Jacob onto the side of Quick Esports did also go down, so it's a one-man advantage for the side of Quick at the moment, so they're going to be looking for a bit of a pressure with using this advantage here, and Sully goes down as well, so it's going to be quite a few off. Only 2 left on the side of Supershy, and only 1 now, and they are going to finally fall, so a bit of a stag coming through for the last few, but not too substantial.
And even though Sim is like a pretty good pick, it's not doing Supershy any favors, and you can see that Sully swapped over to the Tracer, kind of recognize this. D.Va as well. So they're giving their comp a lot more flexibility with this. D.Va not only has the potential to kind of sometimes put a little bit of pressure on the Zen, not outright get the kill when there's a Brig in play, but at least make him a little scared, and deny the ball as well. Good stick, but the Immortality Field is going to neuter that threat.
Yeah, that was a really nicely placed stick, but as you mentioned, that MO just completely neutralizes it, and the window's going to come through early here for the side of Supershy. They're looking for some pressure, and the slam comes through as well, getting the Cassidy on the side of Supershy very, very low, and more pressure coming through there with a few rolls as well, and now the fight is being split up a little bit into this backline and the front line with this Bull looking for some sort of pressure still, and I mean, that's pretty much all Bull is, right? Just pressure, and eventually you can find a pick. The rally comes through from the side of Supershy. Can it find anything? I don't know. I don't think it can with that trans coming through as well. Wait, I just noticed Bread fell. So now it's going to be a tank down on the side of Supershy, and the rest of the team on Quick are going to be using that to their advantage, and they're just going to be pushing, doing so much pressure. And yeah, I mean, once your tank's down, especially in this kind of situation against that Bull, there's not really too much that you can do.
Very sneaky hiding position there. Quite a surprising one, but not a lot going to be gotten, just like the pulse bomb from Sully over on the side. That's a tool that Supershy had in their belt, but they're not going to be able to utilize it now. And without that pick to go ahead with, they're just going to leave this over to the next point. So Quick Esports put themselves on map point here quite decisively, Supershy give up a last-minute contest for the hope of some slightly better positioning going into this next fight.
Yeah, and this is going to be the map point for the side of Quick Esports. So if they can do well here, and I mean they already are doing well here with a really early pick onto Risu, and I mean the rest of the team's not going to be able to do too much after that because that flex support does so much, support and help for the team that not too much you can do. But yet again, fighting on the wrong point there maybe, but yeah, we're just going to be backing up and taking that point.
And Risu recognizing that the BAP just didn't have enough survivability there into the Tracer, into the Tracer and the Wrecking Ball, especially when you have a D.Va on your side instead of the Rissa that was played before. So you go over to the Juno, still a pretty squishy target, but does at least have the ability to fly away, use a speed ring and some torpedoes to fight the enemy off.
And that Freya boiler is going to be used in. Oh my god, it's going to find not the boiler itself, but the pressure and that damage from the boiler did get to the side of Quick, and in a good situation now. But Evil that's all getting a bit greedy now. But is it going to be a trade here? Maybe not, because this Cassidy is setting up so well. But no, that Freya damage is just too much. And what even happened? How did that pulse not kill? What?
I was stuck on the shield from what I could see. Okay. Aggression going to be sustained here as Golden Pants pops a very deep minefield. It's not going to get any kills, but it's going to send Supershy back. It's actually going to split them. They had to send Bread to get the touch, but forced to use the D.Va bomb.
Yeah, now that High Noon does come out, finding a lot of pressure, and he gets a little bit of damage there onto Golden Pants onto that ball on the side of Quick Esports. I don't think it's going to matter too much because they are pretty much immediately healed up, especially using that transfer advantage with the Cassidy going down, and the orbital ray comes out as well with that rally. But it's not going to matter. Wow, what a lovely blink melee coming out from Evil. That Freya does full, but it's not going to matter too much. Pulse gets eaten there, and that is a nice pulse eat from Supershy, but it's not going to matter. 3-0 on Saravasa here from the side of Quicken.
I think this is where the momentum firmly changes. Supershy got their map in, and it was a damn good map in fairness, but that was also forcing Quick off their signature style. Now they're back on exactly where they want to be playing, exactly what they want to be playing. And there aren't tons... in fairness, there aren't really tons of things that can counter the top ball style. D.Va, oftentimes you can fall into a bit of a trap, because obviously, as D.Va, you aren't as much a dive tank as you are an area control tank. And so you may get a bit preoccupied with, well, I'm just here to, matrix the Tracer and the ball whenever they try and engage onto my backline. But then that kind of removes the fact that you can also play quite proactively as a D.Va. And then you get stuck into this weird mindset of like, well, if I don't stick for my backline, they're going to die. But if I don't be proactive, then their team, especially, their Zen Briggs, is going to have all the space in the world. You have to do everything all at once on D.Va. And there are some players who are capable of that, but it's a rare thing, especially against a ball the caliber of Golden Pants, and clearly a Tracer the caliber of Evil as well.
And, D.Va is always that kind of character where you literally expect to do like 500 things at once. I remember even... if we throw back to Overwatch 1 days, even, when you had those two tanks, D.Va was constantly having to, like, dive, peel, pressure, control space. It was, like, yeah, absolutely insane stuff. But we're not in Overwatch 1, we're in Overwatch 2, and we're still waiting. Wait, have the bans come through? Yeah, they have. I just missed it.
Very quick.
It's gonna be clean with it. Yeah, very clean with it. They're nice and efficient between... Quick and Supershy here, and it's going to be Circuit Royale, and of course that was picked by Supershy. So why do you think they went with that map pick?
Because you can't play Wrecking Ball on Circuit Royale. Because they've also taken the liberty of banning Alari. Now, I'm going to be completely blunt here. I do not know whether the ball gets forced here by Quick Esports anyway. It's not banned, like you have the option to play it. But also, it's, kind of really difficult for you to do. And as it turns out, actually, I got my ban orders wrong briefly. The Symmetra was banned by Supershy, and the Alari was banned by Quick, the team that you would be expecting to play it. So I'm a little confused as to what is actually going to be played here. It seems that Supershy actually have just... Sorry, apologies, not Supershy. It seems that Quick have actually just completely adjusted their roster. So no Golden Pants, actually. We're going to see Ace, Fenris, Evil, Jacob, and Rory all in the lobby today. A completely different style that's going to come out from Quick. So interested to see how they do on the defensive side here. With the Orisa, they're going to go for not exactly a close hold, but they're going to make the best out of the close range potential that Orisa has, especially into a Sigma. You do not want to let that guy have a free firing angle. You want to barrel stuff him wherever possible.
Absolutely, and now we're seeing Supershy just walking up a little bit, and those names are actually swapped, so Supershy is the ones on the right and Quick on the left here, but regardless, a lot of space being gained here through the side of Supershy, and this is pretty much exactly what the Sigma comp wants to do, you know, hold space, take space, and generally do things in regards to space, and not really do much else except that, and pump a lot of damage in through that poke, but gonna be pushing up a little bit here, trying to find some space. But it doesn't really matter because Quick Esports are going to be running into that, and someone gets warded. I'm not too sure who it is. Maybe it was Bragg, because they did fall as well with that Frere going down. And looks like a pretty convincing fight win onto the side of Quick Esports to start.
On Sigma, yes, your damage is worth a lot, but aside from that, your cooldowns are everything. If you're not able to use them effectively, as you can see there, then and especially when a Maywall comes out, you're just screwed. You know, you use your rock, it doesn't hit anything. Use your grasp, you get no overhealth. You turn around, you're ice walled, and you're dead. And you died so hard that you've swapped onto the horse instead.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, I'm not surprised to see that Orisa change coming through, but the bowler does come out, but it's not going to find too much except a usage of Immortality Field, and now with this this window up from the side of Quick, it's going to be hard to peek this angle now, but the window is down, and another window actually comes out from the side of Supershy with that Blizzard as well, but everyone tries to get out of it, but not everyone can live there, with 2 going down. Just that, plus that Orisa ultimate, and yet again another very convincing fight win onto the side of Quick Esports.
Beautiful combination. It's all Rory in the kill feed, but credit to Evil there as well. Even in the chaos of the window, they were able to sync up the Blizzard into the Terror Surge. You pull them all in, you freeze them all up, and then you even spear the enemy Orisa off the map, just for good measure right now. Quick Esports looking very dominant here, but they are going to have to fight into an orbital race sooner rather than later, and I wonder how they'll answer to that threat.
Yeah, but the big threat right now is going to be that rally, but the orbital does come through to counter that, as you mentioned. And Sully actually falling really early. So yet again, another sort of difference here with that Frere getting very low on the side of Supershy. And they do fall as well as Risu falling as well, and the rest of the team go down just in exact succession. So another very convincing fight win to Quick, and even off of this ball, they're doing so well.
And I can only assume that communication might have slightly broken down there for Supershy, because there is no way that Jacob should have lived that. Was stuck in this tiny room with his own maze wall on one side. It was so easy to just, you know, walk around, execute the brig, go from there. But no, someone gets caught in the crossfire. They end up living another day. Now Supershy might be paying for it on this attack. They made some last-minute swaps to a Genji and a Lucio, but this has completely reset their ultimate bank, and they're fighting into this window.
Oh, and the Orisa spin did eat up that bowler with bread, getting a few actually with that Terror Surge, and more than a few actually, and they are going to have their first fight win of this map, and hopefully I think Quick should be able to get a touch here.
Yeah, and they're swapping to Posture for it as well. There's no reason not to, because they're going to have the same ultimate combo that won them just a few fights ago. Early window from Raisu, wants to shut this fight down before it even begins, but there's the Blizzard. Rory's not actually there to follow up with the Terror Surge. Could be using this in an extended fight to try and force people off the point. The only thing it's going to break for now is the Immortality Field.
Yeah, and the Immortality Field does get used, but Bread falling so early into that fight with Jacob going down now, as well as that Lucio. Another blade comes out. Can it find anything? It looks the same, but it can't. Sully falls before anything can happen here. And it's just one left, and that overtime is not going to be touchable. And Quick Esports getting a full hold here on the first round of Circuit Royale, and really, really good stuff from Quick.
Yeah, Jacob either very happy or very upset. We don't exactly know what, but hey, you're winning for the time being. You had a very strong defensive side there, so I can only assume it was a good thing. I mean, Supershy, they just couldn't seem to break this point open. They were able to get one nice fight, and that was just off the back of a Terror Surge from Bread. But Supershy, they were really taking advantage of their kind of aggression. Quick Esports, it seemed like they were playing catch-up in terms of composition. And, like, sure, you can counter-comp your opponents as best as humanly possible, but there also comes a time where you just no longer have the... There comes a time where you no longer have the ultimates to work with. And when the other team has more check marks than you, that's often pretty disastrous as to the actual outcome of the matchup. Now, we did mention the Lifeweaver beforehand. It is currently being hovered by both of these teams. It seems as if it's going to be played here by Supershy on the defense and Quick on the attack as well. It is definitely much better on the defense than it is the attack.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course that is why we're seeing it come out now. And yeah, wait, okay, wait. I was confused for a second because the names are the correct way around, and I was what? Was that like a misclick maybe? I'm
confused. But happens.
Yeah. I would have to assume so, but.
Okay, it does mean that Supershy get a moment to breathe here. Well, I say that, but there's actually just still so much damage being pumped in. Zarya able to close this. It's not particularly high charge right now, but does have both bubbles. Definitely does want to lock and load here. And yes, Supershy, they are running the defensive Lifeweaver, but honestly, you kind of want to be playing your people in different positions to take advantage of the get out of jail free card that is the Life Grip. When everyone's stacked together, Lifeweaver is like even more useless than he normally is.
Yeah, and that's
oh!
You know, that was a lovely rock coming out there from the side of Bread, and Evil yet again falling first here, with Ace going down just after. And these fights are just like poke, everyone dies. It's pretty crazy to watch here, but hopefully Quick can find something in this next one.
Yeah. Tree of Life from both of these teams, but for Quick Esports, they're a little further away from some of the ultimates that they might like. Supershy, Quick Esports are probably just going to spend some time poking here, get up onto, you know, things like that window, that overclock, and probably most crucially, that Grav. Wherever Zarya is in the meta, Grav does remain one of the strongest and most reliable fight winners in the game.
Oof. Wow.
Evil, I don't want to be that guy, but this is the third time that Evil has gone down first. There seems to be some kind of issue with this Genji right now. But it's not like you're really able to play Tracer here. You know, it's Circuit. So it seems like you are sort of forced into Genji jail. Possibly a Venture, maybe a Sombra. I'm trying to look for ideas same as Quick are right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm also having a think about, you know, what could work here. I was thinking maybe even a Mei here, potentially looking for the mirror, but regardless, you know, something's going to happen because it's 1 minute 30 left, and they haven't been able to find too much just yet. And the side of Supershy have all of their ults available, and that Flux comes out as well as a window and a Freya bolus, so much being used at the moment, but no one has fallen just yet in the fight, and more pressure coming out, and the Graph comes out as well. So many ults being used of Blizzard as well, and the OC coming out as well. This is what, like 8 ults or 9 ults coming out in just a single fight. And only one person has died, and that's going to be the Freya on the side of Supershy. The Lifeweaver tree comes out as well, but it's not the best though in the game, so I don't know if it's going to be too impactful. The Evil going down yet again, and still nothing is to be found by either team except a little bit of space to the side of Quick. And they're going to have to back off Quick and stabilize for a little bit, waiting for Evil to come back. while the rest of Supershy regroup as well.
Lots of time ticking off the clock right now, and this is desperation mode, and it must be stacking up. Like, you had such a good defense. Surely, if you're Quick Esports, you can't lose this now, right? Blade from Evil is going to have to be your lifeline. You get out of jail free card. It's enabled with a bubble. Are you able to eventually get the kill? Yes, you slash enough times onto the tank. They will fall down.
Yeah, now, just looking for the cleanup at the moment. The Life Weave Petal is up, so some good LOS for the side of
Supershy. God.
Oh, the C9, I don't know about C9. I was going to say it's going to be forced, but it was just a forced lack of touching there. And wow, that was too close for comfort for Quick Esports, I do have to say. But they came through just about, and hopefully Evil can find something better than what they were doing there, because they look like they were having a very, very tough time on that game too.
Yeah, no, it was really Quick Esports desperation mode there, but they got the win on circuit just about. It does kind of show where they're at, as Runasapi is going to be the next map pick. It kind of shows where they're at, because when we're looking at a team like Quick Esports, we are thinking about their potential for making LCS, if my camera comes back, which I think it just has. Spectacular. We're thinking about Quick Esports making LCS, right? There's no doubt that they're going to make playoffs. There's no doubt that they're going to do decently in playoffs. Are they going to get top 2? Has yet to be seen. Are they going to be able to knock off a team like, One Dip v 100 Gorillas? Shout out, we love you guys. Or Frosttails. Not that has yet to be seen. And I think they right now are being shown, yes, they're capable of winning maps where they're kind of off their comfort, but you can't get away with that every time. Effectively, Ball is going to get banned by 1, Ball being banned, and 2, having Circuit Royale picked. If every single matchup is, okay, well, we're just guaranteed to lose 2 of the maps, but it's fine because we'll be able to play our style and win 3, that's not a particularly reliable strategy, especially when other teams within FACEIT Masters, such as Team Vision and Arius, have proved very capable of beating you even when you are playing your own style. So I have no doubt that this next map's going to go rather well for Quick, but I'm thinking very long-term here in the playoffs, because I want this team to succeed. I really, really do. It's just about refining this style as much as humanly possible. Either they get it to a point where they can force it in literally every situation, every map type, or they learn to adapt without it when they need to. And I'm not entirely sure which is the correct approach.
Yeah, absolutely. Finding, trying to. Oh my god, my brain is not working right now. Finding the best thing that works for you, especially when you're sort of a specialist team, is definitely, the best way to do it. You can't really, throw whatever you can at the wall and see what sticks. You've got to try and refine that, as you were saying. But the next map is a map that, for me, my initial thinking is it really plays into the hands of Quick here, which is Runasapi.
Yes, it does. Yes. It absolutely does.
And that was a Supershy pick, right?
Yes. Is Colosseo in the map pool? I know it's a very strange question, but that's kind of my only thought here. Supershy also banned Brig, which is pretty good against the Ball. I mean, on the flip side, I suppose when there's the Brig Zen being played, it immediately makes the Zen less survivable, right? You ban the Brig, and it's like, okay, we're not playing Brig Zen anymore, but we need to keep the Zen alive. What are we going to play instead? You're going to play neither of those things. You're not going to play a Zen. You're not going to play a Zen. You're not going to play a Brig, because that's bad. You're going to play a Life Weaver and an Ana. Life Weaver, I would like to see how well this does into the Supershy composition. I'm going to be completely honest. It might
how did Golden Pants get in this position so early? That is crazy to me. The things that Bulls get away with is ridiculous, and that is one of those things with that disgusting slam onto the Cassidy and finding a pick so early is so nice. And another one. What is going on? So many picks early, and this is the bliss of Bull comp, when you can just go in, get a slam, bing bang bosh, a couple free kills, and easy fight win.
I mean, the thing is, he's in that spot every match. Every single time we're in Sabi, he always starts in that exact same spot. But even if you know where he is, what can you do about it? He's behind cover. You can't just stand there forever. You have to move forward at some point. It's a really tough balancing act. Sometimes, obviously, strength is knowledge, but sometimes even knowing where the ball is isn't quite enough. There comes the hit through from Evil and Golden Pants. Anti-nade comes through, but the anti, little off timing from the rest of the dive.
Yeah, the Suzu was used as well, but I think they'll have it by now, and another slam coming through, and this is relentless from the side of Quick Esports and Golden Pants, and so much pressure coming out onto the side of Supershy here. Yet another slam going through, getting that Tracer so very low, but the one to fall is actually going to be the Ash on the side of Supershy. Oh, on the side of, yeah, Supershy. Wait, no, it's not on the side. My brain is not working. On the side of Quick Esports, the Ash will have fallen, and now the rest of Quick are backing off. The pulse comes out, but doesn't find too much. Oh my goodness.
Oh! Put one right between the eyes there. Evil falls later in the fight, is going to get staggered. Is a Tracer, it's not going to show to get back that slowly. But we're looking very much into the ultimate phase now. Mind from Golden Pants is going to be a problem. There's no member of Supershy that can... Or should I say, there aren't many members of Supershy that can immediately escape them if they're dropped in a tough spot. Oh, okay, goodbye, Sully.
Yeah, that was like, hello Tracer, goodbye Tracer. That's enough for you. You're not going to be pressuring me right now. And yeah, pretty big pick with the side of Quick so early, and the slam comes through from Golden Pants. Trying to find a bit more, but just putting so much pressure onto Supershy, forcing them into this little room, and Evil taking another angle as well. And that's what Ball Comp is all about, taking angles, and it's working so far for them. As a nice few early picks come through onto the side of Supershy, and just clean up now. And this has been like not very nice to watch so far, because Supershy is having such a tough time at the moment.
Yeah, and I recall not being a Lifeweaver believer beforehand, but clearly Quick Esports knows something that I don't. Not much pressure has been applied to Jacob, despite the fact that you would think that the, Lucio Kiri Tracer comp would do that. A big thing is that he can get vertical, and no one on Supershy can really deal with that. They can get very horizontal, though, when they use the Queen ult to go in like that.
Yeah, but when you use that, what you're sacrificing is the rest of your team, basically, because Bread pretty much used it and immediately fell. So maybe not going to be doing that so aggressively again, but slowly going down as well, and the rest of the team on the side of Supershy are going to have to back off now.
Forward spawn's claimed here, for the side of Quick Esports. Slam comes in, nade could have hit there, would have been absolutely gigantic, but if my grandma had wheels, she would be a bike, and she didn't. So Supershy are alive for just another second here. They have both support ultimates, both quite strong ones at that as well. And it seems like the brawl isn't even going to be taking place on point, it's going to be taking place on this weird side angle, and Arshavin is punished for it.
Yeah, Arshavin lived for way too long there, but of course did end up falling, and two other picks. Oh, okay. What are you doing? Oh, the wave.
I can only assume Bread was attempting to pull the ball off the map, not recognizing that the character that has high mobility and a grapple and a recovery pile drive is that's just not going to be a problem. Early nano boost comes out onto the wrecking ball. Has to be a beat to match it just so the rest of Supershy can live.
Yeah, and that was a good nano forcing, another ult there, and the sleep is used, and that Cassidy does go down. Not too much they could have done there, if I'm honest, and we see the tree coming up as well, and it's going to really do a really good job to sustain the rest of Quick Esports while the supports maybe take, not too much, but a little bit of downtime with Bread falling as well, and the rest of the team, yeah, again, going to have to back off, and this push is getting a little bit out of hand to the side of Quick.
A little bit, yeah. They are basically going to be touching the spawn doors of Supershy sooner rather than later. Supershy don't have anything to work with. The one thing that they did has just been ripped from their cold, dead hands.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Is this BM at this point? I don't really know what to say even. It's 2 meters away, and the Tuck is going to come through, but Bread is going to die so early that the mines are in, and that's going to be an insanely dominant victory from the side of Quick. I mean, that was just ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely spectacular play, and with that, Quick Esports guarantee for good. There was like a kind of weird mathematical way that Quick Esports wouldn't have made playoffs, but with that, they have mathematically made the playoffs. So congratulations, Quick Esports. Supershy in a little bit of a tough spot. The standings haven't updated completely, but I think looking at that, they will drop to 13th place, obviously barring the results of what the people, below and above them, Lil Ducks and Alternate Pytel, will get up to. Not a particularly strong place that you want to be in. But yeah, Supershy, they showed some glimpses, but all that Quick Esports really shown is they have a style, and even knowing that style doesn't really mean a damn thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were even able to manage to take that no ball map on Circuit Royale. Of course, they did drop that the Ilios map, but what can you do in that situation? The start of this match was a little bit of a mess, so we can put it down to maybe warm-ups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit of a chaotic one today, but we thank you all very much for joining us throughout it. For a 4-map series, that was really, really quick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, it is called Quick Esports, what can we say? But yeah, 4 maps done in 40 minutes is some absolutely diabolical efficiency coming out from these teams, so we thank you for that. Obviously, thank you to everyone working in the background to get this stream to you today. Specifically, that'd be Westy and Clara doing producing and observing respectively. Thank you, Hex, for joining, especially on relatively short notice, to come in and cast for this. And obviously, thank you all so much for watching. We should be back later on in the week. There are a couple of games that need to be polished off before we get through into the regular, before we finish the regular season and get onto the playoffs, and those should all be wonderful. So thank you so much for joining us. Thursday is a game against Arion, and Friday will be a game against Good Guys. So hope that you have enjoyed, and we'll see you on Thursday and Friday for those matches. But goodbye for now.
Bye-bye.